RevOpsAF, the only podcast for people who are RevOpsAF and want to learn all about things that are RevOps AF.
Our goal is to give the revenue operations community, that includes marketing, sales, and CS, for any of you not paying attention, the skills needed to accelerate their careers.
Do you want to prove your RevOps expertise and stand out in a crowded job market? Then you'll want to check out the Revenue Operations Certification, built for operators who want to level up their careers. Accountants have the CPA, project management professionals have the PMP, and now revenue operators have the ROC. The ROC is based on the best-selling book on revenue operations by Stephen Diorio and is the equivalent of an MBA-level course on RevOps. With the ROC, you'll master the core pillars of revenue operations, join a cohort of your peers, tackle real-world case studies, and walk away with a credential that hiring managers and executives recognize. Operators from Google, Backblaze, eMoney Advisor, and others have already gotten certified. So what are you waiting for? If you're serious about accelerating your RevOps careers, check it out today at RevOpsCo-op.com.
Welcome to RevOpsAF, the podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Camela Thompson, and today I am joined by Jacki Leahy. Jacki?
Hello, it's so good to be here.
I'm so glad you're here.
So I'm Jacki. I started Activate the Magic 3 years ago. We're a fractional RevOps agency for GTM certainty.
I like that.
Yes.
That
I've
was
been working on the branding and messaging.
That was a quick little line, and it's perfect. I love that.
Thank you. Shout out to Kate DeLeo. She's my branding and messaging and website helper right now. She's phenomenal.
Yeah. And for those consultants listening, know what to outsource. I don't always know that. And it doesn't always end well. So know what you're good at.
Know what you're good at.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm excited today because we're going to be talking about why so many revenue operators have the roadmaps they carefully designed fall completely off the rails throughout the year. And I've noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed this too, but a lot of revenue operators just don't even bother with a roadmap. And this is probably why, but a lot of them are really reluctant to even go there. Are you seeing the same thing? And why do you think that is, if you are?
Okay, let me couch this or put parameters around what I'm saying. Because my entire experience is for companies like under 200 employees. So growing, kind of messy, right? So I totally see not having a roadmap as a strategy. Even in our client engagements, we have certain milestones and goals that are tightly aligned to what the actual org is going for. And usually it's the CRO is our primary stakeholder, and they do or do not score like most of their revenue or their income, their salary, their commission if they hit a certain number. So basically the where we're going is set. How we get there, especially when you're earlier stage, that's up for debate. So I like to be a little bit more, okay, these things are important, these rocks are important as we go towards this revenue marker, this benchmark. In what order we do them, I have an idea, but we're also going to see what our key constraint is. Right. And we think it is elevating our sales process and getting those KPIs nailed down and getting super rigorous. But then all of a sudden it's, there's a churn problem or people aren't renewing. It's okay to divert and detour because that's actually the constraint. Because if you don't have a customer base, no sales process can help you. So you really want to go after the key constraint.
Yeah, and I've been in large enterprises, and I would say like the roadmap or end goal tends to be a bit more consistent. What gets really disruptive, and I know a lot of people are feeling this right now, reorgs, changes of management, changes of priority due to that. So I think it still happens. It's just a very different flavor, whereas in smaller organizations, you're constantly adapting to the next thing they think is the problem. It's rarely just one problem, but they always think it's one problem, and we're adapting to go after it.
Yeah. In my experience, companies want to fix everything.
Yeah.
Executive leadership is just this and this, and it's as the steward of the revenue engine, I'm like, no, because you're telling me you want to fix something over here in the bow tie, here and here, not only, and it's usually out of desperation.
Sure.
And it's okay. Two choices. One, we can do it your way and probably be in the same situation in 3 months from now, where we don't exactly know what worked, what didn't work, and we still have a lot of things to fix. Or we can actually pick one thing, one constraint in the bow tie, and solve for that super intelligently. Let's actually observe the problem, analyze it, let's come up with a hypothesis, and let's swarm that. And if you can get leadership to come to the table in that vein of maturity, then you're cooking with gas, right?
So I think I want to take us a couple steps back, because you're talking, so this is wonderful, and we always throw out the agenda when it's you
just
and
like
I.
the roadmap.
Exactly. We adapt. We
So
adapt.
meta.
We figure out what's most important. So what I see a lot of times is I have a lot of revenue operators saying, I'm a ticket taker, they just throw tasks at me. And what you did in your conversation is you were looking at the overall company objectives and tying the projects to those things to have that conversation. So for the people who feel like ticket takers out there, what was that kind of aha moment or evolution in your mind where you stopped taking the tasks and started sorting through them? What was that process like for you?
I talk a bigger game than I walk,
No.
because the big aha was about a year ago, and it came from a conversation we had talking about how to sell the value of RevOps. And it was over a year ruminating on that question when the big aha came. When it comes to how stable we feel in our jobs, appreciated, respected, not on the cusp of being fired, it has like very little, if any, correlation with how good we are at our jobs.
Yeah.
How our technical skills, our interpersonal skills, our prioritization skills, it has very little to do with that, and everything to do with PR, sentiment.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a tough moment for me when I had a conversation with my boss years and years ago, and it became really clear he had no idea how I spent my day. And he asked me to map out how I was using my hours, because he couldn't figure out why I wasn't able to take on just more and more as time went on. Like, I was already drowning, but he didn't understand why. So I had to go through the process of, here's how I spend my day. You have me in 5 hours of meetings a day, which is really cutting down on productivity. Do you want me to work 60 hours a week? And then let's look at the projects you have me doing and the ones that come in via airmail. Like, how can we streamline this? But that communication was so obviously broken. I think it's really easy to assume, especially your boss just knows. And we see these tiny little slivers of each other throughout the day, even though we spend so much time together. We have no idea.
No idea. No idea. And oftentimes our boss is the CRO or the whoever is in charge of revenue. And they're too good at their jobs. They're too good at the skill of getting their way. So even when we do agree on what's important and where I should be spending my time, 45 minutes from now, that could go all out the window. They have zero recollection of what was discussed. And that's not an accusation, it's a reality. And like I like to say this to my team, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what works for different people varies. But it was game-changing for me if I treated planning seriously and got things written down with level of effort and what initiative it was tied to, so we could visualize it together. So the next time boss came walking to Cube back in the day, when that was still a thing, I could pull that up and be like, okay, what do you want to move?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really is... I've been doing RevOps for 8 years now, but I've been in tech for about 10. And the question of how do I convey my value? When I was a BDR in charge of business development, that was super straightforward.
Yeah.
Super duper straightforward. Whereas when we're in a supporting role like this, we almost serve at the pleasure of. So even if we are doing right by the revenue engine, which is where my loyalty is, I'm like a park ranger for the living system that is the revenue engine, right? I want to do right by that. If I want to keep my job, I have to make sure the executive team also sees what I see in terms of what's most critical in what timing and what. Here's the second big aha I got. I was at the CRO Summit Pavilions in the spring, I think. And the new stat is forever and ever the CMO had the shortest E-team tenure. Well, race to the bottom, the CRO is the new winner of that. So it's only 18 months. Average tenure for
I know, but VP
CRO.
of Customer Success, 12.
Shit.
Yeah.
C-suite wise.
Yeah.
No, VP is not C-suite.
It depends on how the organization is structured. So VP,
Listen,
CS.
I can't get into helping CS today. Yeah. I gotta put my own freaking mask on in this airline.
I love.
We love them.
This is why I burn myself out. Is I love everyone and want to help them all. Oops.
You gotta prioritize, Camela.
I know.
Exactly. This is the problem.
Yes. So let's talk about that.
Problem. Let's prioritize.
Right.
Let's prioritize. Because we are the stewards. So the longer we stay in seat and the more power we have, the better for everyone. So be power hungry, even though you're not. I am not a power hungry person by nature, but in order to do right by the business, I have to be.
Yes. And
I've got to rally the troops. The CRO, if we're serving at the pleasure of the CRO and they can't keep their goddamn job, how do you think you're going to have job security?
Yeah.
Even if you say, yes, sir, right away, sir, they go, you go. You want to hear my solution?
Yes.
Team up with the CFO. If that CFO is on your side, you've got the tiger by the tail. I don't know what a better phrase would be.
No, that's the CEO too. If you're in a smaller company. No, if you're in a smaller company, I'm telling you, both of them, they make each other happy. The CFO and the CEO.
Yep.
Your CFO is usually the path to them as well.
Yeah, the CEO is usually picking up on vibes.
The CFO is usually the one whispering into their ear.
Yes. Yeah. So
100%.
the archstone is CFO. And the word priorities shouldn't exist. Priority comes from the Latin word, which is to value over everything else. So I think we're just trying to balance priorities, and this word should not be pluralized.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything's a P1 though, so or P0 is the new thing.
P0, right? P0. This is the battle to actually get into. Because we can't fight this war on all fronts.
No one
We got to go to the critical link in this chain. It's the key constraint of our RevOps job security or effectiveness, impactfulness, right? That's the clincher.
So it sounds like I would posit that roadmap is actually a good idea in that meeting with the individual stakeholders and then meeting with them as a team to discuss it on a regular basis what we're prioritizing can be really eye-opening for everybody at the table.
Yes.
They can all hear what everybody is screaming for loudest. So it's really important to come to not agreement, but a consensus. Like, people are going to disagree and try to come in and pressure you into doing their thing first. I think the trick is figuring out, how do I tie these projects to the overall goal of the company? How do I determine what's the most important? And then who am I going to align with when it comes to the tiebreakers? And that's hard.
Here's where I think you get to have an opinion.
Yes.
And the opinion is probably mathematical. Right? And we might have to do some influence work around it to make that math mean something to each of the stakeholders, right? But at the end of the day, you can't be looking outward to see what you should be working on. I think that's a big problem too, with a lot of being in the position of RevOps. It's like looking out to see what I should be doing, where it's, no, I am the one. I am Neo, right? Here is your knighthood. Let me bless you right now with the sword. This is your permission slip. You need to have that opinion and do what you need to do to figure out the math behind it. So you're not fighting for what you think or for yourself. You are fighting on behalf of the revenue engine as a system. And that is the end all be all, because ain't nobody got a job if the revenue engine is sick.
So I love how you touched on making sure that each person knows how their team is impacted by the one thing that's being asked for. Yeah. So if I were to give an example, the system's configured so the leads all go in one big bucket and marketing's doing their job well and sales is just drowning. But we keep hearing from the sales team, I have to generate most of my pipeline and the leads that are being sent to me aren't worth doing. They also want changes in their opportunity stages, let's just say. And that's what the VP is really pushing for, or the CRO. Being able to go to the CRO and say, the most commonly expressed complaint across your team is that they're having to source too much of their pipeline, and we can see that they're drowning in leads. Don't you think it's worth fixing how we prioritize the leads and increase the quality and number of conversions rather than focus on stages right now? So having the conversation, like, I can't come up with...
You're being way too nice about it.
Okay.
How should I do it? The CRO is bottom line up front. You got to punch him right in the nose with it. And it's usually a man, so I'm saying him. So you say, you are fighting for stages. What your team is yelling for is sourcing the revenue. Here's actual numbers. If my hypothesis is we can get to this number, get this lift by this date if we do this and this and have the math, right? So if we raise this conversion rate from here to here, we'll save all this selling time on leads that aren't going to convert. So we're going to get that selling time back and we'll get a better conversion rate. And then do the math towards, okay, better conversion rate here. What's the throughput that he can celebrate and tell the world about at the next board meeting because they got a blah, blah, blah and ARR. That's what that guy cares about.
Yeah.
So like, this is what you want. This is what will get you here. Here's the math. And if you just show that you've done the math, they'll be like, oh. And this is where an alliance with the CFO is really important.
And I brought up that use case because conversion rates, there's exponential return if you can change the conversion rate anywhere for the better. So like Revenue Hero has some really good industry benchmarks, particularly around demo requests. So I was working with a client. We can look at the conversion rate by lead source and say, hey, your conversion rate here, let's say it's 10% and it should be 25. And then you can roll the math out using their average deal size and all of that to show how much it would impact pipeline just to increase it by X percent.
Yes.
So you are absolutely right. I was staying way too high level. But when we compare that
and you were staying too diplomatic.
Yeah. I'm not always that.
This is the problem. This is the problem. The reason RevOps people are drawn to RevOps are the same reasons we come to people like this, right? We want to help. We see the whole system. We want to help. We want to make sure everyone feels good. That, based on evidence, that is not doing the trick.
Yep.
So we don't necessarily have to change who we are, but can we stretch into other communication styles, other influence tactics in the name of better revenue engine health? And I say we can.
And I love that you're bringing up the word influence. In a survey to revenue operators, influencing without authority was seen as something they don't need to have, and that broke my heart.
What?
They were more focused on
Tell me all of your thoughts about this.
They were more focused on technical skills. And I think so many of us get into the trap of, if we're really good at our job, that's enough and people will notice.
Nope.
You have to be able to communicate the outcomes of your projects and the cost and benefit of doing these projects so you can negotiate what actually matters.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, make a choice. Are you going to be a technical expert? Or are you going to be in a leadership manager? You don't, like, doing both is really hard.
Yeah.
And especially if you, like the earlier stage, if you're going to be a team of one, know which lane you want to go into.
Unless you're a masochist and really love startups, and then you can just...
But, like, self-awareness, right?
Yeah.
Knowing, like at the top, when you said know what to outsource. Yep.
So I think we've been saying it, but I want to say it. Why do you think leaders expect so much to get done compared to what we know we can do?
Because they think we're their little Salesforce monkeys.
And they don't know what goes into it or what it impacts.
No. And it's not usually the technical build in solutioning. It's usually the interpersonal-ish that makes this job hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. At Activate the Magic, we're getting there. Like, it's a process, but really insulating the technical delivery team from the interpersonal stuff. So we have a project captain who is not hands on keyboard. They are ears in boardroom.
Yeah.
Right? Listening, negotiating. The diplomatic immunity, getting in there and really... And then once that alignment is there, the math works out, the CFO is take my money for this project, then the technical delivery team can cook quickly. Mm-hmm. And that's when that is when you really start rocking. The problem is everything's a mess and they want you to fix everything. And RevOps, as a personality trait, we are, okay, let me roll up my sleeves and get to it. There's nothing that I've ever not been able to get done in my whole life. That's why I ended up here.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're stuck. Nobody appreciates you. You're getting laid off, and you're like, why was I working 65 hours a week and sleeping with Slack under my pillow.
Yeah. So I like that you mentioned boardroom, executive meetings. So roadmaps, when's it okay for them to really change? So we've established we need to communicate the value and the order, but when is it okay for us to say, yeah, you're right, let's change things up a bit?
Who are you saying, yeah, you're right to?
Anyone who brings up a really valid issue. So I know when I would change it, and it has to do with team outcomes changing and who has the greatest need moving. But I would love to hear from you how you determine, yeah, it's time to
It's not
switch
based
focus.
on need. It's based on what's happening in the revenue engine.
Exactly.
In the factory.
Yeah.
Usually where there's smoke, there's fire. There's going to be dumpster fires everywhere. Don't try to put them all out. Chaos is the glitter of growth. Just go into it with that perspective. Yeah, everything's a mess. If it wasn't, we wouldn't have a pulse, my guy. It's about finding the most expensive, most painful dumpster fire and the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? You might think the AEs are getting waterboarded by the way they complain.
Yeah.
And CS could be hemorrhaging to death and be like, may I please have a Band-Aid? So that's why it's so important to do the math.
Yeah.
Of course, make sure everyone's heard, because there's what's happening and then there's the people side, and have an idea of what's going on. But you really got to rally around the most important thing. I like to do it in a quarterly cadence. This is what we're attacking this quarter. This is the outcome that we're after. Here's my proposed solution. Here's what's going to cost, but here's what we're going to get out of it. We should see this in an early indicator. This KPI will move first. And yeah, there's a million other things to fix.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a good example would be pipeline build is steady. Conversion rates are fairly steady quarter over quarter. And we just discovered that our rockstar CS team that was retaining 104% NRR went into the 90s. With all hands on deck.
Yep. Yeah. You got to stop what you're doing. and really start observing and analyzing that. Is it what's going on? Is it the product? Is it the onboarding? Is it you got to get in there.
Yeah. I love problems like that secretly. Like, I don't like that companies run into them and everybody gets stressed out, but it's also a great time to be curious and just explore.
Yes. And all I'm saying is get your PR game in order so you can do that. That is where we shine. That is what you are put on earth to do. And if you want more of that, consider joining an agency. Consider joining either like a bigger enterprise team where you can do that, or if smaller is your jam, there's a couple agencies. Go Nimbly is fantastic. Apparatus is fantastic. Activate the Magic is fantastic. And if you really want to, the only times I'm seeing people being able to actually have the air cover to do their job is usually in an external capacity.
Yes, unless they have a really good manager.
Really good manager.
They decide to be the person who becomes that really good manager and embody
to their people.
all the skills that we're talking about. And it's a tough thing that's not for everybody. So I like that you bring up, know which lane you want to be in.
Yeah, and choose.
Yeah. Let's talk about, hopefully it's an edge case. I suspect it may not be, but let's talk about the cases where you don't have that magical protective manager, and it's not always possible to win because of maybe it's ego. You're nodding, so I know you've seen it. What do you recommend to people who find themselves in that place?
Yeah. So ideally, 80-20. 80% of your time, energy, bandwidth is going to an initiative that is you have high confidence that this initiative is going to shift something massive. And then 20% is ticket taker, people pleaser. Right away. Emotional support animal, basically. Mm-hmm. In my experience, I was 100% ticker taker, emotional support animal. And then over the weekends, I would do everything else, right? And don't do that. Don't do that.
Not sustainable.
Don't do that. But can you flip it? So if you're at 100% people pleaser, can you reserve an hour each day? Block it off 2 hours, an hour and a half. Start with an hour and a half a day. Or 3 hours once a week. Start with some sort of bandwidth and keep that sacred if you can. I mean, if that block has to move, okay, but have that block somewhere and treat that as this is the time that I am taking on the constraint of this business. And I'm going to do the math, and I'm going to use this as the first step of becoming the best secret weapon of the CFO.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think 80% of your time, yes, sir, right away, sir. And then snowball.
For sure. And I think it depends on the personality type too, because it took me looking at it not as arguing and looking at it more as a debate whenever there'd be like a conflict in priorities, and then learning over time what they care about most, mm-hmm. and learning how to tie things to that in a meaningful way for them. There are some cases where the relationship's just toxic, but that's the minority. That's when it's time to move on, because there's no feeling like you're winning there.
Yeah. And know the chapter that you're in, mm-hmm. as well. If this is your first entry into RevOps, your job is to get a win that you can then parlay into your next opportunity. And that's okay. I was in a very toxic situation for 2 years. Yeah. I'm fine now. And it's only because of that I'm able to do what I do now. Sane at the time? No. Recommend it? No. But if that's the chapter, like my back was against the wall. I was mid-late career and I had to get somewhere, do something. So I had to do an extreme, right? But I was very clear that was the chapter that I was in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to tell folks out there?
You are the one. You are the one who sees the revenue engine for what it is and what's actually wrong and what will actually fix it. Know that. And that is your superpower. And no, people don't see things the way you do. Your brain is weird. It's not obvious. You're incredible. And know that. If nobody's told you that today, let us two tell you that right now.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's always a moment in somebody's career where you're like, no, everybody doesn't see things the same way. No. You need to show your homework and then leave them homework. There. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. People don't change their minds in an instant. Tell us where people can find you and exciting things you have going on right now.
Oh my gosh. So we are hosting Clay office hours every other week. We're calling it the Clay Grounds. Come clay with us. And later this month, I have a workshop where you can pressure test your 2026 initiative pitch. Ooh. Yeah! Yeah! So come hear other people pitch theirs, get some help on your workshop yours. 2026 is the year that RevOps gets shit done.
It's practical magic that activates the magic. My goodness.
Thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode, everybody.
For more great content like this, join our community at RevOpsCoop.com and check out the links provided in the show notes.
Keep it RevOpsAF, y'all.